ध्यायामो तेजो वै नैष्टिकी स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनी भगवती मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखी वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणी सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनी श्यामाङ्गे पदसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी। ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः। So, welcome everyone. Once again, welcome to our Ṛgvedic online course. So, without much delay, I hand over to Jijit sir to continue our session. So, over to you, sir.
Yeah, so namaste everybody. So welcome to today's session. So we have, I just give a recap of what we've done. So we have already passed through the introductory parts of the Ṛgvedic studies. That is the Ṛgvedic kings, Ṛgvedic poets, and Ṛgvedic devatas. And we have also started the base of the geography by looking at around 33 plus rivers in the Ṛgveda. And we also understood the overall the regions in the Ṛgveda, the Ṛgvedic period, the geography of the Ṛgveda, the major regions in the Ṛgvedic geography. So you may be recapping or recollecting that we have the central region that is today known as Kurukshetra, which is in the Ṛgvedic period. It is known as Varaprithivya, the best place. Nabha Prithivya, the central place, that kind of names. And we also noted the three important places in the Kurukshetra, the Varaprithivya, the places related to Manu, Manusha. So we have noted the three main locations in the Varaprithivya region: Manusha, Ilaspada, and the Bharati Tirtha. So Manusha is related to Manu. Ilaspada is related to Manu's daughter, Ila, and Bharati is related to the Kula Devata of the Bharatas. So we have all these three places, sacred places in the Varaprithivya region. And this is also the native place of the Bharatas and many other older lineages, the Purus, Anu, Hudruhyus, Yadus, and Tugvasas. Everybody was having that same region as their native place. So that is why it is very sacred. And in the Mahabharata, the Kauravas and Pandavas thought of having the battle there, because most of the battles are fought there. That is the ancestral place, and it's also considered as the most holiest place of the ancestors, and almost equivalent to Swarga. So in other ways, in many of the Puranic accounts, it is actually indeed mentioned, described in the form of or referred as Swarga. And whenever the Anavas, the Anavas who were defeated and went westwards, when they came back and occupy the Varaprithivya, it is rendered as Asuras coming and occupying the Sarga. All these things I have mentioned in my previous talks. And then we have the other regions like Sapta Sindhu, which is today's Punjab region. So Sapta Sindhu, the 7 rivers, 2 rivers disappeared. That is Vibali and Maridbratha disappeared, and then the 5 rivers. And that is now all the Punjab. That also means the 5 rivers. Not only in the Indian side, but in the Pakistan side. And then you have Takshashala region as a Sharyanavat region, and the regions to the west of it, to the west of the Takshashila region, on the both sides of the Sindhu River is the Gandhara region. It is mentioned in the Ṛgveda as Gandharva region. So Gandharva region and Gandhara are all identical. So these regions I mentioned. Then I mentioned about Matsyas who migrated from the Kurukshetra Yamuna region to the southwards into the eastern, northeastern Rajasthan. That is the Matsya territory of Virata, which they have given the Pandavas lived there as in the Ajnatavasa, the incognito. And you have Chedis who are living in the arid regions of dried up Saraswati. So they came with camels and all, they came and migrated. At some point of time, they were living in the Mathura region, and from there, they migrated further eastwards and occupied the region there in which they are known in the Mahabharata. So in the Ramayana period, Rama traveled through that region, but there is no mention of Chedi there. So they were just about to enter that region during the Rama's period, Rama era. And when the Pandavas were ruling, they were exactly in that region with 100 years of gap. So these are all things very important for the combined geochronology of the Ṛgveda and Ramayana and Mahabharata. We have studied that. We also studied there's a temporary the Panchalas living in the Kurukshetra, Kurujangala region during the Pandava, that is Rama's period. Rama, the messengers who were trying to bring Bharata, Rama's brother Bharata from Kekeya, when they were going from Ayodhya to Kekeya capital Girivraja, they passed through Kurujangala and saw the Panchala there. So just like Chedis, the Panchalas were slightly to the west during the Rama period, and then the switch happened. The switch of Panchalas from west to east or east of the Kuru happened between Rama era and the Pandava era. So all these geographical very new insights in the geography and the dynamic changes in the Janapadas between late Ṛgvedic period, Rama period, and Mahabharata period. We have studied all of them. And now, after this recap, what we are doing is starting the rivers. So this is our, I can say the geography of Ṛgveda is primarily about the rivers that are there in the Ṛgveda, because the place names are not very much given importance in the Ṛgveda. Even though we mentioned about 3 place names in the Varaprithvi, there is another one in Sharyavana. The Takshashila was known as Pastyavati. There is another place named Pastyavati in Takshashila. So bearing a few names of places, and of course the many regions I mentioned about Kurukshetra, Saptasindhu, Sharyanavat, Gandhara or Gandharva region, and Matsya region, Chedi region, and Kikata region. I forgot to tell Kikata, who were there to the west of Yamuna, then migrated to the west of who were there to the east of Yamuna, and migrated to the east of Ganga, and finally migrated to Bihar, becoming the Magadhas. So these are some of the regions. So in terms of number of regions and places mentioned, Ṛgveda has less amount of data, but it is focusing more on the rivers, because the primary reason is the rishis primarily lived on the banks of the rivers. They were not city dwellers. And this is also one reason, like many people ask if our chronology, the Ṛgvedic period is coinciding with the Harappan, the Indus Valley Harappan period. And that is what my chronology is about. Why there are not mention about so many number of Harappan cities, etc. So primary reason, Ṛgveda is a work of the rishis, and the rishis were not in the city, dwelling inside the cities. Most of them were riverine, they were living inside the rivers. But they are pattern kings. They were in that cities and very wealthy. And that wealth very much indicates the Harappan civilization. And we also have gods like Twashtar, who is primarily a god of architect and a construction, and a creator god, who is very much representing the Harappan civilization, etc. So we have that clarity is there. We have mentioned. The second point is most of the cities they are known by the river by which the river that flows past, because it was impossible for create a city which is not on the banks of a river. So there was no specific river city name, but it will be always a river name. So any city will be like located along the banks of river, and most of the cities are on the banks of Saraswati. So it is called as the Vajinavati, rich in horses or rich in riches, the richest region, because they contain a lot of cities, and they are all very rich and wealthy cities, etc. So that is also one important geographical clarification I have mentioned. So that, having said that, we have a few place names in Rigveda, little more region names mentioned in Rigveda, and few mountains like Arbuda mountain, the Mount Abu, and the Himalayas, and then Hayashira, there is a mountain near the Takashila. So a few mountain names like that. Bearing all of that, the most of the Rigvedic geography is all about the rivers. And compared to the cities, regions, mountains, we have more references to the rivers, and there are 33 plus river names in the Rigveda. So today we start with just 2 rivers as an introduction, and proceed. So there is different ways of studying the rivers. One is studying the rivers based on the east-west direction. So because the easternmost river is Ganga, and westernmost river is Kupha river, Kabul river, and one of its tributary, the Ashmanvati. So that way we can study it from east to west. You can actually like study the rivers, like first river Ganga, and then the last river, the Kupha, Kabul river, or Ashmanvati. Another way of studying is the number of times of occurrence. Then you have to study with Saraswati as the first, because the most number of references, the most referred river is Saraswati. So Saraswati is referred largest number of times, and then subsequently other rivers. So that is one way of studying it. The third way of studying is by starting with the first river mentioned in the oldest mandala of the Rigveda, and then proceed one after the other. So that is what the methodology I have adopted. Because it will also give you a glimpse of how the Rigvedic people slowly moved both to the east and west, and on an average, predominantly to the western direction. So that is the methodology I have adopted. The first river mentioned in the Rigveda, that is in the oldest mandala of the Rigveda, are the 2 rivers Haryupya and Yavyavati. So these 2 rivers, which are very close to the Yamuna river, these are the 2 rivers which are mentioned first in the Rigveda, the first reference to the 2 rivers. So they are in the 6th mandala, 27th sukta, the 5th and 6th verses, the rigs actually. So the 6th mandala, 27th hymn, 6th verse, and then the 5th verse. So there the 2 kings are mentioned, Abhyaviratin Chayamana and Srinjaya Devavata. So you know the second name is the name of the father or the ancestor. So Abhyavaratin is the name of the king. His father or his ancestor is Chayamana, and Srinjaya is the king, and his father is Devavata. So this Devavata, we have actually referred him in the king list of the kings. Devavata is one of the oldest kings in the Bharata lineage. So he is a descendant of Bharata. And Devavata's son is Srinjaya. And anybody who is familiar with Mahabharata knows Srinjaya is a very famous name in Mahabharata. That is how the Panchalas are referred. It is synonymous to the Panchala. So in Mahabharata war, they will say Srinjaya's fought with the Pandavas, means Panchalas fought with the Pandavas. So that Pandavas are actually a descendant of Srinjaya. So that is Srinjaya. And Abhyavaratin Chayamana is a Parthava or an Anava dynasty. They are the Anus, they are the Asuras. So this is the starting point where the Asuras and this Srinjaya can be considered as Deva, because Deva worshippers are considered as Devas. So they are all synonymous. The Devas and Asuras were living together as a brother in a brotherhood in this area, and they were pursuing a enemy that is Vrichivans and Turvasa. So these are very ancient people, because I told you the Turvasa is one of the Panchajanas, and the least known, very less famous Panchajana, because these people got completely assimilated into Anavas and Yadavas. Some part of them merged with the Anavas, the Anu dynasty, and they went westwards. Some others merged with the Yadava dynasty. They become part of the Yadava Krishna's lineage. They just merged and gone away. So they are all very mandala. They have some presence. So they say Turvasa, and the Vrichivan these even don't know. Nobody knows about it because they completely they got defeated and assimilated by their enemies. So Srinjaya and Devata, they both were enemies to the Richivans and Turvasa. And there is a sukta, this 27th sukta of the 6th mandala talk about the how the this Abhyavartin and Sanjaya, they both were pursuing the Richivans and Turvasa, and how they cornered for example, the enemies were traveling like this, and this Richivan Turvasa, these people were totally cornered in this somewhere in this region where they could not move because the two rivers are very close. That is, Yavyavati and Haryupya are flowing parallel to each other. And Yavyavati is a kind of a branch of Yamuna. It's a western branch of an ancient river. It's a branch of Yamuna. And Haryupya is nothing but Drashatvati. But while Drashatvati flowing from the Himalayas, the upper course of the river Drashatvati. So from here up to here, Drashatvati is flowing from the north to south direction, and Yavyavati also flowing rivers. And when you reach there, somewhere around here, there is a very constricted area here because it's a very thin area. So what happens is this Sanjay and Abhyavartin, they were having a battle. Somewhere here, they're having a battle. And this enemies, Vrichivans, just and suddenly got trapped here. They got trapped here. And because of that, they were defeated. So this incident is mentioned very prominently in the 6th mandala of the Ṛgveda in the 27th sukta. And this is the kind of context in which these two rivers are referred. So that's what I'm saying. So you have a context of a battle in which two kings, mortal enemies later. But at that time, they were bye-bye. I mean, they were all living together. The Asuras and Devas were living together. That kind of a ideal period. You can say, and it is mentioned in Mahabharata and Puranas also, that Devas and Asuras were brothers. They were brothers. They were all united and there was no enmity between them. All these things are mentioned passingly in the Mahabharata and sometimes referred in the Puranas. So this is the ancient period where this happened. So they were all together and then they had a great brotherhood and they had common enemies and they were like pursuing the Vrichivans. And there was the battle scene mentioned in the Ṛgveda where they pursued the enemies through the parallel rivers Haryupya and Yavyavati and cornered them in somewhere around a region where there is a very narrow strip of land where not much movement is possible. And at that point of time, the enemies conquered the Vrichivan and absorbed them. I mean, what happened, we don't know after that. So maybe the Vrichivans were totally conquered and assimilated. And similarly, the Turvasas also assimilated in a later period. So this is what the context in which the oldest rivers, Haryupya and Yavyavati, are mentioned. These are all mentioned by the oldest Rishi, Vedic Rishi, the Bharadwaja. That is what important. These are all Bharadwaja's suktas. And we have some information. So Shayana, that Ṛgvedic commentary, both Haryupya and Yavyavati are considered to be the same river because these rivers are very too close. So this was the older understanding, the Shayana's Ṛgvedic commentary. And Srikant Taligiri also commented on this Haryupya and Yavyavati as an alternate names of Drashatvati. So he considered they are the same river actually. But I go with the M.L. Bhargava, who is also considered Yavyavati as a distinct and unique from the Haryupya. All of these people are partially right. All of these researchers partially right because they are very close. And so when you follow the descriptions, they almost you feel like the rivers are same. So that is why. But if you go for accuracy, then they are slightly different rivers. And one more thing I have to say, this river dynamics in this region was highly volatile. So there are many times where the Yamuna, this the dotted line, Yamuna flowed like this. Yeah, so there is no distinction between Yamuna and Drishadpati when it flows through the dotted lines like this. So all of them are partially right, and dynamics change every like almost in 100 years. This time and dynamics keep on changing this way or that way, etc. So more or less, there is truth in everybody's point of view. But at the time when this battle was taking place, Ayodhya was like the upper course of the Drishadpati flowing in the north-south direction, and Yavyavati was running parallel to it like this. And after this event in the 6th Mandala period, there may be several instances this dynamics changed. The river course will be like this dotted line indicates the river flow. Yamuna river, the Yavyavati flow into the Haryupya. Yavyavati is anyway another distributary channel of Yamuna. So it's almost like Yamuna is this and Drishadpati both are same. That kind of situation happened in the entire geological period. Many times it has happened like that. Sometimes they are separate. Sometimes there are three. Sometimes there are three rivers. Sometimes there are two rivers. Sometimes there is only one river. And then they become two rivers with three rivers. So this is all dynamics happening. So there is some truth when you for Shayana, Shrikant, as well as ML Bhargava. So that is about the Haryupya and Yavyavati. There are two rivers actually. So here it is little more a detailed understanding of the Haryupya Yavyavati. So this is your satellite map where the Yamuna is flowing here. This is Yamuna, the satellite imagery of Yamuna. And here is the old channel of Yamuna, the Yavyavati channel. And you can see somewhere here, there is a like Yamuna coming down from the Himalayas. You feel there is a divergence here, and it moves like this. And you can see there is a Srugna. There is a place called Srugna, wherein where it is like the river is flowing like this. The Yavyavati river is flowing this, and there's a Yamuna Nagar here. Yamuna Nagar is here because this is all these can also be considered as the older course of Yamuna. So there is a Yamuna Nagar, and there is Chachroli here, and in that point there is only a 5-kilometer distance between these two rivers, between Yavyavati and the Haryupya river. And if you look at Salwan, there is another place. It is 12 kilometers. So I am suggesting that the battle where the Rigveda mentioned about a narrow strip of land where Richivans were defeated is somewhere at in this location after little north of the Yamuna Nagar in Haryana, where the distance between the rivers is just 5 kilometers. And it again, see here it is 7 kilometers, this is 12 kilometers. But many places these two rivers come together. And I mentioned about dotted line at this point in somewhere in the past they were merging together. This flow was going into the Haryutas. These two river channels are very unstable because they are very close to each other. When two rivers are as close as 5 kilometers or 7 kilometers, 12 kilometers, there is a lot of chance of them merging together, separating, etc. So all these things happened in this region. And you can see in the satellite maps, the original Yamuna river course, that is today's Yamuna course, and old Yamuna channel, Haryupya here, that is the upper course of Drishadpati. And of course, Saraswati and its tributaries, everything is seen here. The Apaya river, is here. Manusha is here. It's a bigger map, basically. You can see how it is all in the somewhere in the northern Haryana, north of Delhi. That is this region. This much is the Kurukshetra. You can see because it is between Drishadpati and Saraswati. The Kurukshetra, northeastern corner of Kurukshetra is Apaya. All these things, Manusha, Manas, location, everything is mentioned. So with that, I am stopping here. So just giving an introduction of the two rivers that we are studying for the first time. Out of the 33 plus rivers, we are studying the two rivers, Yavyavati and Haryupya. Haryupya is nothing but the northern course of the Drishadpati river, the Chautang river. Chautang, the current name of Chhatrapati is Chautang. And Yavyavedi is the older channel of Yamuna, which was running parallel to the Chautang River. So if you look at this, is a high density of rivers here, like Yamuna is here, old channel of Yamuna, Yavyavadi is there here, Haryupya is there, Saraswati is here. And then the tributaries of Saraswati, there are 5 tributaries of Saraswati. There is one more, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, all these 5 constitute the Saraswati. So even this is also mentioned in the Mahabharata and the Ṛgveda, that there are 5 rivers that join together to form Saraswati. Is also there is 2 more rivers, and it is called Sapta Saraswati. All these things I will talk about when I talk about Saraswati River. So Saraswati also have this 5 river concept and 7 river concept that I will talk about during focusing on Saraswati. But in the map it came. That's why I just I'm telling in advance. So I think you got a gist of the first 2 rivers of the Ṛgvedic geography, and I will stop here and then look for. We'll have some discussions.